Hello, good morning dear students. Welcome to Interactive Virtual Class Nagaland once again. So students, we will begin with a new chapter today. Let us see. Alright. So here we see a family watching television. Okay, watching news on television. So let us see what kind of news they are watching. So here the news says lightning claims lives in Bengal, at least 25 killed. Okay, so in the news it is saying that at least 25% are killed because of lightning in West Bengal. Yes, students. So have you also seen this kind of news? Yes, students. Yes, right. In another news it says at least 157 killed in Nepal earthquake. Okay, again at least 157 killed in Nepal earthquake. Now while watching this news, okay, the boy asks his parents, what are these lightning strikes and earthquakes? Why and how do they occur? Okay, so do you know, students, what are these lightning strikes and earthquakes? And do you know why and how they occur? Yes, students, let us see. Okay, then the father replied to his son saying, my child, it's an interesting thing. Okay, come, I will show you. Okay, so the father took his son to another room. Okay, they opened their laptop. Okay, and let us see. Okay, what the father is going to show his son. So the father said, okay, nature is beautiful, but sometimes it becomes violent and shows its other face. Look here. So let us go along with them and see what the father is going to show his son. So what do we see here, students? Yes, what are these? Yes, very good, students. These are volcanic eruption. Okay, these are volcanic eruption. Now, what are these, students? We see the disaster, right? We see that the houses are being damaged, and here we see the damaged roads. Yes, students. So, what causes this? These are due to earthquake. Yes, students. The next we see here is lightning. Yes, students, we see lightning strikes. So this is lightning. And here we see that forest on fire. So these are known as wildfire. Okay. And what do we see here, students? Yes, these are tornadoes. Yes, these are tornadoes. The next we see here is an area is being flooded, right? It's covered with water. And here we see flash floods. Yes, students, so these are flood. All right. The next we see here is, yes, students, what do we see here? We see here is tsunami. Okay. What we see here is tsunami. So here, the father shows different types of natural disaster to his son. Okay. Then the boy said, I want to know more about lightning, earthquakes, etc. Okay. So here we see different types of natural disaster. They occurs naturally. Yes, students, these are natural disaster. They occur naturally. So in today's class, okay, we will begin with this new chapter, that is some natural phenomena. Okay, we are going to start with this new chapter, that is some natural phenomena. So let us see. Okay, we will learn about the natural disasters. So here we see a socket. Yes, and we see that we have a plug here. Now what do we see here? We see that some smoke coming out from this. Now it sparks, yes, and it catches fire. So you must have observed this, or you must have seen this at home, okay, or in school. Sometimes, okay, there will be spark, okay, or fire on the socket due to loose plug. Okay, so you must have seen this. Another example we see here is, okay, it is windy, the wires are moving. Yes, we see sparks on the wire and now it catches fire. Yes, students, so you must have observed this, or you must have seen this somewhere else. This is common, okay, when it is windy and the wires are moving. Okay, so you must have observed this. Yes, students, let us see here. Now here we see lightning. Yes, students. So here we see lightning. Now on a dark, rainy days, sometimes we see lightning with thunderstorm. Yes, students. So this is lightning. Okay. So here we see the electric socket catching fire, the electric wires catching fire, and we see lightning. Yes, students. So what are these? Okay. So lightning. Okay, lightning is also an electric spark, but on a huge scale. Okay, lightning is also an electric spark, but it is on a huge scale. Okay, so here in ancient times, okay, when the people see, okay, lightning, they get scared. They are afraid of this lightning because they think that the wrath of God, okay, the wrath of God or the anger of God is reaching the earth. Okay, because they did not understand why this lightning is happening, how this lightning is occurring. They used to think that this lightning is the wrath of God, it is the anger of God reaching the earth. Okay, so they used to be scared of lightning. Okay, but as early as 600 BC, okay, as early as 600 BC, the ancient Greeks, okay, they knew about lightning. So let us see, okay. Here we see, okay, let us take an ember. This is an ember. Now when we drop this ember, okay, ember on a cloth, okay, and bring it near a piece of paper, small pieces of paper, okay, and bring it near small pieces of paper, as we can see here, it will attract the paper. Okay, so this is ember. So when ember, okay, now what is ember? Ember is a kind of resin. Okay, ember is a kind of resin. Now when ember was rubbed with woolen cloth, it attracted paper pieces. Okay, now when we are using, okay, or wearing woolen clothes, when we remove it, you must have observed that your hair stands up like this. Yes, students. So when you take off woolen or polyester clothes, the hair on your skin stands on end. Okay. Now sometimes when you are removing or taking off this woolen cloth, okay, you will see sparks. Yes, like mild shock. Yes, students. So if you take off these clothes in the dark, you see a spark and hear cracking sound sometimes. Yes, students. Or sometimes, okay, when we touch the knob of the door, okay, you will get shock. Yes, students. Have you ever experienced this? Or sometimes when you touch, okay, the railings of your home, you will get mild shock. Yes, students. So what is causing this? Yes, students. Why? Okay. Why is this so? Why do our hair stands up when we remove the woolen cloth that we are wearing? Or why is the ember after rubbing on the cloth attracting the small pieces of paper? Or why do we get shock? Okay. Sometimes when we touch the knob of our door or the railings of our home. Yes, students, we will find out. Okay. So here Benjamin Franklin. Now who is Benjamin Franklin? Benjamin Franklin is an American scientist, and in 1752, okay, he showed that lightning and the spark from our clothes are essentially the same phenomena. Okay, an American scientist named Benjamin Franklin, he showed that lightning and the spark from our clothes are essentially the same phenomena. Alright, students, before proceeding further, we have the first question for today. Please get your rough devices ready and respond to this question. The question is, sparks can be seen on electric pole when wires become. Okay, we have four options. I'm giving you 15 seconds to respond to this question. Your time starts now. Sparks can be seen on electric pole when wires become. Option A, loose. Option B, tight. Option C, twisted. And option D, none of this. Alright, students. Yes, very good. We have previously seen in an example that we see sparks and the wire catches fire on electric pole when the wires become twisted. Okay, when the wire becomes twisted. Okay, so the correct answer is option C. Okay, all right, student, let us proceed. Charging by rubbing. Okay, so let us see some more examples. Okay, so here the first thing you have to do is, okay, tear the paper into small pieces. Okay, into small pieces. Then take a plastic comb, rub it on your dry hair. Okay, dry hair, and bring it near the pieces of paper. Now you see that the pieces, small pieces of paper are attracted to the comb. Yes, so after being rubbed, a comb attracts paper pieces. Let us try more examples. Okay, so take an inflated balloon, rub it on a cloth, and bring it near pieces of paper. We see that the balloon also attracts the small pieces of paper. Yes, students. Another example we have here is a plastic refill. Okay. Now rub this plastic refill on a polythene. Okay. On a polythene and bring it near the small pieces of paper. Let us see what happens. Here also we see that the plastic refill is attracting the small pieces of paper. Yes, students. So in all of these cases, we see that the plastic comb, the inflated balloon, the refill, they're attracting the small pieces of paper after rubbing it on another surface. So why is this so? Let us see. Okay. So when a plastic comb is rubbed, okay, when a plastic comb is rubbed with dry hair, it acquires a small electric charge. Okay, when a plastic comb is rubbed with dry hair, it acquires a small electric charge, and that is why it attracts the pieces of paper. Also, when balloon is rubbed with a cloth, it acquires a small electric charge, and that is why it attracts the small pieces of paper. Similarly for refill, okay, when refill is rubbed on polythene, it acquires small electric charge, and that is why it attracts the small pieces of paper. Okay, so here we see that the comb, okay, the balloon and the refill, they acquire small electric charge when rubbed on another object, and that is why they are attracting the small pieces of paper. So these objects, okay, these objects like plastic comb, refill and balloon are called charged objects. In the process of charging the plastic comb, balloon and refill, our hair, wool and polythene also get charged. Okay. So here we have seen some examples like balloon, then refill, then the comb attracting the small pieces of paper after rubbing on a surface. Our question is, do all objects show this property? Okay, we have seen the examples of plastic comb, balloon and refill. They are attracting the small pieces of paper because they acquire small electric charge after rubbing on another object. Yes, but our question is, do all objects show this property? Yes, students, we will find out by performing an activity. Okay, so for this activity we will use different objects like ball pen refill, balloon, then we have plain paper, we have comb, we have steel spoon, then we have polythene sheet, then we have woolen cloth, and we have eraser. Okay, so let us see. Take refill polythene. Okay, first for this activity, tear this paper into small pieces and keep it aside. Okay, now the first thing is take refill and polythene. Okay, take refill and polythene. Then take the inflated balloon and woolen cloth. Take the plastic comb and silk cloth. Now let us see again. Let us rub these substances on this object. Okay, let us rub this object like refill, balloon and comb on another surface like polythene, woolen cloth, silk cloth, and see what happens. So when we rub them, okay, and bring it near these small pieces of paper, we see that the balloon attracts the small pieces of paper. We also see that the plastic comb is attracting the small pieces of paper, and the refill also attracted the small pieces of paper. This is because when we rub this object on this surface, they acquire small electric charge. Okay, so we see that for this refill, balloon, and comb, okay, they acquire electric charge, and so they are attracting the small pieces of paper. Now let us see some more examples. Okay, so the first object we will use is eraser. Okay, now materials used for rubbing, the first is our dry hair. So let us see. Okay, when we rub eraser on our dry hair, let us see whether it will attract the paper pieces or not. So first take an eraser, rub it on your dry hair, okay, and bring it near the small pieces of paper. You will see that it attracts the pieces of paper. Now take the same eraser, rub it on polythene sheet, as we can see here, and bring it near small pieces of paper. Did it attract? Yes, right? So paper pieces are attracted. Now take the same eraser again, rub it on woolen cloth, and let us see what happens. So rub it on woolen cloth and bring it near the small pieces of paper. It attracted the small pieces of paper. Yes, so it attracted the small pieces of paper. Now repeat the activity with other objects and record your observation in the table by writing yes or no. Okay, so we have tried for eraser. Yes, students, we have tried for eraser for this activity. Now take inflated balloon, okay, and perform the same, repeat the same activity. Rub it on dry hair. Will it attract the small pieces of paper? Yes. Again take inflated balloon, rub it on polythene sheet. Will it attract the small pieces of paper? Yes, it will attract. Okay, you can carry out this activity in your class as well. Okay, now again take the same inflated balloon, rub it on a woolen cloth. You will see that it attracts the small pieces of paper. Similarly, you can repeat for comb. Okay, in plain paper, it will attract the small pieces of paper. Comb, when you rub it on your hair, it will attract the small pieces of paper. And woolen cloth, it will attract the small pieces of paper. Similarly, for refill, rub it on plain paper, you will see that it attracts the small pieces of paper. Rub it on polythene sheet, you will observe that it attracts the small pieces of paper. Rub it on woolen cloth, you will also observe that it attracts the pieces of paper. Now steel spoon, let us see what happened. Take a steel spoon, okay, rub it on plain paper and bring it near the small pieces of paper. You will observe that it does not attract the paper. Okay, it does not attract the small pieces of paper. Take the same steel spoon, rub it on polythene sheet and bring it near the small pieces of paper. Again, you will observe that the pieces of paper are not attracted. Again, take the same steel spoon, rub it on woolen cloth and bring it near the pieces of paper. You will observe that the steel spoon does not attract the small pieces of paper. Okay, so here we see, okay, the eraser, when we rub it on our hair, it acquires some electric charge. When we bring it near small pieces of paper, it attracts. Similarly, for balloon, it attracts the small pieces of paper. But in case of steel spoon, when we rub it on plain paper and bring it near the pieces of paper, it does not attract the small pieces of paper. Yes, students. So from here we see that some objects like eraser, balloon, refill, etc. Okay, when rubbed with some specific materials, they are able to attract light objects like pieces of paper. Okay. but some objects like spoon do not attract pieces of paper even after rubbing. So from here we see that all objects, okay, they do not show this property. Okay, all objects they do not show this property. Some objects like eraser, balloon, refill, when rubbed on a specific material, they will attract the small pieces of paper. But some objects like steel spoon, okay, even after rubbing on a specific material, they do not attract the small pieces of paper. So this property is not shown by all the objects. Now here our question is, why don't some materials, okay, attract pieces of paper even after rubbing? Okay, why do some materials attract the pieces of paper after rubbing? Okay, but some materials, they do not attract the small pieces of paper after rubbing. Why is it so? We will see about this, but before that let us answer some questions. Please get your rough devices ready, students. Our question is, which of the following can be charged by rubbing? Okay, we have four options. I'm giving you 30 seconds to respond to this question. Your time starts now. Which of the following can be charged by rubbing? Option A is amber. Option B is plastic. Option C is ebonite. Option D is all of this. So which of the following can be charged by rubbing? Yes, students. Alright, students, your time is up. So let us see. We know that amber can be charged by rubbing. Plastic can also be charged by rubbing. Ebonite can also be charged by rubbing. So the correct answer for this question is option D, that is all of this. All of these, that is amber, plastic and ebonite, can be charged by rubbing. Very good, students. We have another question. Please get your rough devices ready. The question is, amber is a dash. Okay, so we have four options. Option A is metal, option B is rubber, option C is resin, option D is sugar. So amber is a dash. I'm giving you 20 seconds to respond to this question. Your time starts now. Amber is a metal, or amber is a rubber, or amber is a resin, or amber is a sugar. So which of the following option is the correct answer? Yes, students. Alright, students, your time is up, and yes, very good. The correct answer is option C, that is amber. Okay, resin. Amber is a resin. Okay, so option C is the correct answer. Alright, students, so let us see types of charges and their interaction. Okay, so let us see here. Now to understand this, let us perform another activity. Okay, so for this activity, take two inflated balloon. Okay, take two inflated balloon and hang it in this way. Okay, as we can see here, hang it in this way, that they are not touching one another. Now take a cloth, okay, take a woolen cloth and rub the balloon in this way as shown here. Okay, rub both the balloons with a woolen cloth and release them. Okay, now the caution, we have to be careful while performing this activity. Make sure that your hand doesn't touch the rub portion of the balloon. Okay, make sure that your hand doesn't touch the rub portion of the balloon. Why? Because we have seen that when we rub a specific material on an object, they acquire small electric charge. Yes, so in order to avoid getting shock, make sure that your hand doesn't touch the rub portion of the balloon. Now after rubbing both the balloons with the woolen cloth, release the balloons. Let's see what happens. Now here we see that the balloons are moving away from each other. Yes, students, we see that the balloons are moving away from each other. So here a charged balloon repelled a charged balloon. Okay, a charged balloon repelled a charged balloon. They are not attracting, but they are repelling each other. They are moving away from each other. Let us take another example. Take two plastic scales, okay, and rub these two plastic scales on a polythene sheet. Take two plastic scales, rub it on a polythene sheet. Okay, rub both the plastic scales with polythene. Now let us see. Okay, now after rubbing the plastic scale for some time, we will bring them together and see what happens. Now for this experiment, you will need a beaker. Okay, so take a beaker and take these two rub scales and put it in the beaker. Now you see that the scale they move away from each other. Yes, students, the scales they move away from each other. So they are also repelling each other. Yes, so a charged plastic scale repelled a charged plastic scale. So two plastic scales are charged. Now they are repelling each other. They are moving away from each other. Let us take another example. Take one plastic scale, rub it on polythene sheet, place it in a beaker. Take another balloon, rub it on a woolen cloth, okay, and bring it near the plastic scale. Now here we see that the plastic scale and the balloon are moving towards each other. They are attracting each other. Yes, students. So a charged balloon was attracted by a charged plastic scale. So in the first two cases, we see that when the two balloons got charged, they repel each other. They move away from each other. In the second case, we have seen that when two plastic scale gets charged, they also repel each other. They move away from each other. But in this case, charged plastic scale and charged balloon, they are attracting each other. They're moving towards each other. So why is this so? It is because there are two kinds of charges. Okay, there are two kinds of charges. Let us see. So in the first case, the balloon repel each other. And in the second case also, the charged plastic scale repel each other. Here, charges of the same kind repel each other. Okay, the kind of charges present in this balloon is of the same kind of the charges present in the another balloon. Similarly, in this second case, the charges present in this plastic scale is of the same kind of the charges present in this scale. So here we see that both these balloons have the same type of charge, same kind of charge. Both these scales have the same kind of charge. So that is why they are repelling each other. So charges of the same kind repelled each other. Remember this, okay, students? Charges of the same kind repelled each other. But when it comes to this plastic scale and balloon, we see that they attract each other. It is because the charges present in this scale is different from the charges present in this balloon. Okay, so the charges are of different kind, and that is why they attract each other. So remember, students, there are two kinds of charges. Okay, there are two kinds of charges. If same kind of charges are brought together, they will repel each other. But if different kind of charges are brought together, they will attract each other. So let us see here. Okay, now when we rub this plastic, okay, when we rub this plastic scale with a cloth, what happens? We see that there is positive charge on this and there is negative charge on this. So there are two types of charges, that is positive and negative. Now when we bring small pieces of paper, the small pieces of paper are attracted towards this. Meaning, okay, since this object has positive charge, this paper will have negative charge. Okay, it is because we have two types of charge, positive and negative. If we bring positive and positive together, they will repel each other, they will not attract each other. Okay, again when we bring negative and negative together, they are of the same kind, so again they will repel each other, they will not attract. But when we bring positive and negative charge together, they will attract each other. Okay, so here this object is attracting these pieces of paper, so it shows that since this object contain positive charge, these paper are negatively charged. Okay, so know this. Okay, the electrical charges generated by rubbing are static. Okay, they do not move by themselves. The electrical charges generated by rubbing are static. They do not move by themselves. When charges move, they constitute an electric current. Okay, so the charge that is generated by rubbing are known as static charge because they do not move by themselves. Now when this charge move, they constitute an electric current. Okay, so remember students. Okay, remember students, the electric current in a circuit represents motion of charges. When we see the electric current flowing in the circuit, remember that it is the motion of charges. The charges are flowing in. Okay, and that is why we are getting the light. Okay, so the electric current in a circuit represents motion of charges. Alright students, so I hope you are clear with this. Positive, there are two types of charges, positive and negative. If you bring positive and positive together, they will repel each other. If you bring negative and negative together, they will repel each other. But if you bring positive and negative or negative and positive, these two will attract each other, these two will oppose each other, or it will repel each other. So that is why we see that in an activity that we have seen in our examples, some objects that attract the small pieces of paper, whereas some objects that do not attract the small pieces of paper. This is because of the type of charges present in the different object. Alright students, we have some more questions. Please get your rough devices ready. The question is, when objects like plastic get rubbed with hair, it acquires a or an resistance, induction, charge, none of this. So I'm giving you 30 seconds to respond to this question. Your time starts now. When an object like plastic get rubbed with hair, it acquires a resistance, option A, option B, an induction, option C, a charge, and option D, none of this. So we have four options, A, B, C, and D. Which of the following option is the correct answer? Yes, students. Alright, students, your time is up, and yes, good. The correct answer is option C, that is charge. Okay, when objects like plastic get rubbed with hair, it acquires a charge, a small electric charge. Yes, so the correct answer is option C. We have another question, students. Please get your rough devices ready. The question is, two charged objects are brought close to each other. Okay, two charged objects are brought close to each other. Choose the most appropriate statement from the following. Option A is they may repel. Option B is they may attract. Option C is there will be no effect. Option D is they may repel or attract depending on the charge they carry. So we have four options. I'm giving you 30 seconds to respond to this question. Your time starts now. Two charged objects are brought close to each other. Choose the most appropriate statement from the following options. Yes, students. Option A is they may repel. Option B is they may attract. Option C is there will be no effect. Option D is they may repel or attract depending on the charge they carry. Yes, students. Alright, students, your time is up. Now we have discussed in our today's class that there are two types of charge, that is positive and negative. If we bring in positive charge together, that is plus and plus, they will repel each other. Minus and minus will also repel each other. Plus and minus will attract each other. Now in this question, there is that kind of charges is not mentioned, right? So we don't know whether it will repel, we don't know whether they will attract, we know that there will be some effect. So these three options are wrong. So the correct answer for this question is option D, that is they may repel or attract depending on the charge they carry. Okay, so the correct answer is option D. If you bring in two positive charge, they will repel. If you bring in two negative charge, they will repel. If you bring in one positive and one negative charge, then they will attract each other. So the correct answer for this question is they may repel or attract depending on the charge they carry. Okay, so option D is the correct answer. Alright students, we have another question. Please get your rough devices ready. This is a value-based question. So the question is, Ankita was preparing for the sessional exams. She used to be quite afraid of geography. She studied but could not remember anything properly. Her brother suggested her to skip that exam and rather take rest for the day. But Ankita thought over that quite a lot and decided to sit for the exam anyway. She went to the exam and wrote whatever she could. What quality did Ankita exhibit in this situation? Okay, so we have four options: fraternity, unity, respect for public property, courage. I'm giving you 15 seconds to respond to this question. Your time starts now. Yes, students. So Ankita, even though she could not remember anything properly, she went ahead to the exam and wrote whatever she could. So what quality did Ankita exhibit in this situation? Yes, students, very good. The correct answer is option D, that is courage. Okay, in this situation, Ankita exhibit the courage. Alright, students. So in today's class, we have discussed. We have started with a new chapter, that is some natural phenomena. We have briefly seen about what are the different types of natural disaster. Yes, students. We have briefly seen about lightning. We have seen how different objects get charged by rubbing. Yes, by rubbing they acquire small electric charge. We have also seen the transferring of charge. Yes, transferring of charge, or the types of charge and the interaction. Yes, students, we have seen that there are two types of charge, that is positive and negative. Their interaction is that when positive and positive comes together, or when negative and negative comes together, we have the same kind of charge. So when we bring same kind of charge together, they will repel each other. But when we bring different kind of charge, they will attract each other. So by this type of charge and the interaction, we have seen that some objects, after acquiring charge, they attract the small pieces of paper, whereas some objects, even after rubbing, they do not attract the small pieces of paper. This is due to the types of charge present in each object and their interact. So remember these, students, same type of charge repel each other, different type of charge, they will attract each other. I'm repeating this: plus and plus, minus and minus, they will repel each other, but plus and minus, they will attract each other. So we have briefly seen about lightning, the charging by rubbing, type of charges and interaction. In our next class, we will discuss in details about lightning. So this leads us to the last question for today's students. Please get your rough devices ready and give your feedback about today's class. I'm giving you 10 seconds for this question. Your time starts now. Kindly give your feedback about today's class. Alright, students, your time is up. Thank you so much for your response and thank you for joining today's class. I hope you learned something from today's class. Yes, students, I will see you again in our next class. Till then, take care everyone and have a nice day.